Hello, it's Simone. I'm so glad you are joining me today for a currently inked video, and I'm gonna dive right in. I brought out all the stuff that I'm using to document. I have my 20 case pen case from Gallon Leather in the Crazy Horse Brown. Then this is my ink swatch and fountain pen journal in a Foxy Fix Rowena with personal size. Then this is a traveler's notebook cover that I made myself, and in here I keep my currently inked lists, and I document those in 3 different notebooks with different papers. The first one is Tomoe River 52 GSM. The second one is Cosmo Air Light paper, which is, I haven't done any research on that, but I think there must also be different weights because the paper in the journal is different than the loose leaf paper that I received from a friend. And then the third book that I have is a B6 Slim MD notebook with MD paper inside. The reason why I make those lists 3 times in 3 different notebooks is because it is so interesting for me to see how the inks look on those papers, as well as how my nibs perform. And I am comparing now the Cosmo Air Light with the Tomoe River paper, and you can see that the nibs are much broader and the inks are much more vibrant. And now comparing the cream or yellowish paper of the MD paper, you can clearly see that the nibs seem to be finer and the inks are a lot less vibrant. I make the Cosmo Air Light lists and MD lists just for fun because I curated my fountain pen collection for Tomoe River paper, and that's all the journals I use. Before diving into making the list, let's look at this fountain pen log. I think that's a great name. Last time I filmed a currently inked video that was on February 1st. I decided to use this notebook as a log book where I would use my date stamp and then document which fountain pens I unink, which fountain pens I get in the mail, what I do to these fountain pens, test them in this book, and I am color coding 3 different incidents in here. So the blue dot is an empty pen that I write empty. A red dot is a fountain pen that I empty out when there's still ink in there because I decide I no longer want to use that ink or fountain pen. And then the ocean color is for new inked pens. I did some nib smoothing. I troubleshot new fountain pen nib problems that I'll go into a little bit more detail later on. I have a video on this. And then a first for me is that I actually refilled some ink into a fountain pen because I'm still using that one. I just can't switch inks in the middle of a week when I'm doing a journal entry with this pen. So let me show you how many pens I have inked up and what I emptied since last time I filmed the video. I currently have 9 pens inked. 2 I emptied from last time. 2 pens are new additions. And 1 pen is from my stash. So I carried over 6 of those 9 pens from the last time, and then 3 are new inked editions. 2 of them are brand new, and 1 is just from my stash. The 2 fountain pens that I emptied out since last time is the TWSBI VAC 700R Iris. I had Diamine Inkvent Seize the Night in there, and I had this fountain pen inked for about 3 months. And then the other pen that I emptied is the Pilot Vanishing Point with an M nib, which I had inked with Diamine Inkvent Ash. And that one I emptied in the middle of February, and so I had that one inked up for about 2.5 months And I actually am totally okay with having my fountain pens inked up for more than a short period of time. Just earlier this morning, before I started editing this video and doing the voiceover, I realized that I am not using my fountain pens more than probably twice a month. And so it's okay if I have them inked up for quite a while. I am going to show you how these write. How am I going to do this now? I'm gonna turn this around, so this is gonna be on this side. And then I will start right here. So this is the Franklin Christoph Model 45 in vintage green. It currently has it's a JoWo nib unit, JoWo number 5 nib unit. This was originally in the Opus 88 Koloro. So this is the Opus 88M nib. And I am not, this is not comfortable for me, so I have to post this pen for it to write comfortably. But then it's a nice length. It's really light and nice to use. So let me start right here. See, maybe the reason I haven't used this for a while, my assumption after using this for a little bit is that this is the only pen that does not start out writing right away when I use it, is that the what is this? The cap of the fountain pen doesn't start out, doesn't keep it sealed close as properly as it should, and that's why it dries up. Okay, maybe now it works. Yay. Because, and so for the SIG nib that is in the other, see what I mean? These pens, let me see if these prove me wrong, but all of those pens will write when I uncap them and put them to paper. There might be a little slow start, but none of my pens until now do this. I'm just gonna use a little more and then see if it now will actually write. Yes. Okay, so this is Franklin Christoph Model 45 with a JoWo number 5 nib. And the color is Diamine. And it's from the Inkvent 2021. Inkvent. See, I cannot talk and write at the same time. And the color is black ivy. And you can clearly see why that is the case. I'm gonna pull out my ink journal because I think all of those, with the exception of this one, is documented in here. And I just love how this looks. So it is a green with lots of red sheening ink, red dark ink. Yeah, this is what this looks like. I hope this is okay for you to show this. I love how these ink splotches turn out, and I love what colors come out when I do the chromatography on those inks. So I thought that this would be a good thing to share. All right, so this is done. And let's see if it's proving me wrong or right. This is the Kaweco. See, I'm started putting it down on the paper and it just flows. AL Sport, Golden Espresso, with an M nib as well. The color is Sailor, Tinterias, Homemade, Tortillas. Alrighty, this is, considering the weight and the smoothness of this nib, the broadness of the strokes, currently one of my favorite fountain pens for sure. I inked this up in December. I don't know, maybe I should take photos of the ink cartridges. No, this is better. And this is how full it is. It's still half way filled. I think I filled it all the way up. The idea of not filling up my fountain pens all the way, I just had that recently when I thought about how I would be able to ink up my fountain pens more frequently, because as you can see, I am not using up a lot of ink. So this one is almost full. Hello, cat. Alrighty, next one. Golden Espresso. Not Golden, yeah, Golden Espresso with the, where's that one? Here. It's not a sheening ink, it's just a regular plain color, but I do love, especially with a nib that is as broad as this one, you can see if it puts on more ink, it does have some kind of, well, it does have shading, it's just not a sheening ink. Maybe let's put it this way. And this is what the chromatography looks like. And then I usually put my ink splotch right here and then put down what pens I have inked this up with. Then this next one is my birthday pen, 2022. Not super expensive, I just didn't have a lot of budget left, but I felt like this would be a cool tradition, or to start a new tradition, to just have a birthday fountain pen. What do you think? Do you do that? Do you gift yourself fountain pens for your birthday? This is the Kaweco Sport. The color is Fox. And the nib is F, and you can see that I don't particularly like the nib width, and the color is Diamine, red poppy. Just doesn't work well with how I write, and that's okay. It's not this one, but this one. Poppy red. Okay, well, it's close enough. It looks a lot darker as an ink splotch like this, but it comes out more, actually pretty close to poppy red, what I would describe as poppy red. And then this is the chromatography right here. Lots of pinks and then oranges. Let me check the level. So I inked this one up on February 1st. It has half a cartridge, well, maybe 1/3 of a cartridge left. I'm using my fountain pens mostly to write in my journal, long form journaling, and I switch my fountain pens out for every entry. I love how I can see with each ink color what day or that it is a different entry. And then I use my fountain pens in my project notebooks. My projects are currently YouTube and my year of making. So those for planning and for just writing down notes, I just use the fountain pen that I have on rotation for the writing journal. And then this week I started or decided that I would use my fountain pen which is the Custom 74 at the moment, in my weekly Traveler's Notebook journal. So that's the only places where I use my fountain pens. And since I am not journaling on a daily basis, it might be 3 to 4 days until I write my next entry, and then I just pick one randomly. That's why I am not using my fountain pens as much as other people maybe, and that's why it takes me 2 to 3 months to empty them out. Okay, so long form talking here. This is the Kaweco. It is a sport, but it is from their Kaweco collection, which is a limited edition. And the color is Cyan or Cyan, and then the nib is an M nib. The color that is in here is very scientifically called, it's a Pelikan Dunkelgrün. And it's a regular cartridge that you can buy at any stationery store in Germany. And so that's what is in there. And this is almost written empty. So the next time I'm trying to rotate in those that are almost empty more than others, just so that I get that satisfaction of actually emptying out a fountain pen and being able to then ponder what is going to be the fountain pen that I ink up next, etc. And there I made a mistake, and this is going to bug me for the rest of the day. I did not make a ink splotch and ink chromatography for this one because I never thought it was an ink that I would use. The reason why I put this in here was that I had an empty cartridge at the end of this and then would be able to flush it out and put other inks in there. However, I have to say, I really like this color. So just goes to show that you never know what inks and what colors you like. This is a new fountain pen edition as well. So this, and this is new. This is probably the one that I'm most unhappy with at the moment. If you have a Franklin Christoph fountain pen, let me know your experience. Are they just prone to drying out more easily? Do I need to write with this more often? Because, see, I told you, all of those pens so far have written right when I started writing with them. This is the Kaweco collection Iridescent Pearl. It just came out in March. I had to have it, and I do not regret the purchase. It does look like Iridescent Pearl. The name is the pen. I really enjoy it. The ink that I have in here, okay, so now I'm skipping 2 again because that's just how I am, is a very interesting ink. It looks different on every paper that I have used it on so far. This is the Kaweco collection Iridescent Pearl M, and the ink is Vinta, Sirena, and I think there is something else with this, Mermaid green, yes. And when I hear Mermaid green, I can say that I really like that name for this ink because that's exactly what it feels like. On this, with this huge ink splotch, it is very pinkish, but there is green hues in the color. And when I used this on this is Rhodia paper, it looks a lot greener than it looks on here. So yeah, let me check for the, oh, the ink is, I have a converter in here. I've heard many things, many opinions about this converter, and yes, it is tiny, but when you're like me and you want to go through ink more frequently, then this converter is actually pretty perfect. So I still have about 2/3 of the ink left in here, so this is going to be a little while until it's done and empty. I'm not mad. I really like creating these kinds of color palettes where inks in my eye. Your eye, it might be a different thing. Go well together, and it makes a nice, when I flip through my journal entries, it looks very cohesive, even though they're wildly different colors. Okay, new surprise. Let's see what this fountain pen does now. This is the Opus 88 Koloro. This was the first big purchase that I made after I got back into fountain penning. I got it from Endless Pens in their Independence Day sale, and I was blown away by the nib and the pen. So I'm really nervous about writing with this pen now. Okay, see, there we go. See it, see it, see it? It works. So it is the pen and not the ink, not the nib unit, I think, because this nib unit works really well in this pen. Let's just write, and then I'll tell you while I write, because I can't do both at the same time. Opus 88 Koloro. The color is red. Do I need to write that here? I'll just write it red. And then the nib is a Franklin. The nib unit is from Jowo. It's a Jowo number 5 nib unit. It is an in-house grind from Franklin Christoph, and it is a SIG medium grind. And SIG stands for a stub italic gradient. And it does, what does it do? If you do this, the lines are broader, and then, yeah, that's what this looks like. The color that I have in here is Lennon, Toolbar, Oyster. This nib, this fountain pen, the ink is, I think it is right here. Maybe it's not. That was ash. Then it's further in here. It's a gray, dark gray, almost leaning into black. I see blue. For me, it's blue. It's a blue-black, but when I did the chromatography, this is the color that it came out. It's nothing really. And then I have the custom, Pilot Custom 74. See, okay, I will tell this to you all the time now. Pilot Custom 74, not 78. This is the only gold nib pen that I have. I think it is 14K. And it is a medium nib, and the ink is Vinta, Sikatuna, Sandugo. I love this ink. It's just perfect. It reminds me a lot of Sailor Manu Ume, which is the other ink that I had in this fountain pen. This is how much is in here. I filled it up. It was empty when I opened it up 2 days ago. Empty, but it wasn't filled all the way. As I told you earlier, I'm not filling my cartridges or converters or piston filler pens with a full filling anymore. The only thing that I'm doing right now is trying to get these empty. This one, I think I filled all the way last year, sometime in May maybe. So this is one I'm focusing on, this one for sure. I would like to get this one out of here. Yeah, so this is most reliable fountain pens. Well, that's not true, actually. These Kaweco pens, now that I'm actually falling back in love with them, are also very reliable writers, as you can see. But I like that I don't have to post them. They have a nice weight in my hand. They feel nice. This is the TWSBI. TWSBI. Okay. It's okay. Eco Tea in green, I think. It currently has an F nib on there. And the color is Rohrer und Klingner. Goldgrün. And I have to tell you that I really like inks where you can see shading properties. It doesn't have to be a sheening ink. I actually like shading with a tiny bit of sheen more than those super heavy sheeners. And let me check where it is. Maybe I didn't even ever make a, nope. This one also doesn't have an entry yet, so I guess it's time. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see how I make entries into this notebook. I haven't filmed along many of those because I'm not sure that that is something that you would like to see, but I can totally film along next time that I'm working on those. So I don't have an ink. I'm really curious now. I would love to see what that looks like. Rohrer und Klingner Altgoldgrün. I have a bottle of this because I really love the ink. And this one is also one of those that I'm trying to focus on emptying so that I can ink up another pen and start using it. I haven't written with this in a long time. I am very curious to see what happens when I use it. I am rolling this in my hand because this is shimmering ink in here, and I would like for the shimmer to actually be dispersed all through the piston. As you can see, there's lots of residue in the feed. I'm not sure how that affects the ink flow at the moment. We will see. Nope, it works just fine. Alrighty, so this is TWSBI. No, it's right. Eco Tea, turquoise. With an M nib, and the color is Diamine. Inkvent, Storm. And when I say Inkvent, then I'm talking about the Inkvent of 2021 because that's the only Inkvent that I participated in. Yeah, so I really like that color palette. I like it more when it's sorted like this, just so that I can see what it looks like. It always tends towards these jewel tones, fall colors, even though it's spring. That's kind of my vibe that I'm going with. I'm trying to be more exploratory, so I was very excited that I added in this ink in February. But it's definitely not one that I'm leaning towards. When I choose a pen, then this one is not one that I choose. Maybe it's the nib, maybe it's the color of the ink. Could be both. Let me just show you how the ink level is. It's about here. That would be maybe to here. Yeah, so this will probably be inked for a while. As you can see, I do have, well, I was just going to say that I only have one regular TWSBI. I don't. I have two, but a while ago, I decided that if I was going to add any more TWSBI Ecos to my collection, then it would only be those that are released as Eco Teas. Reason for that is that I actually like the shape and I like the grip section of those more than the regular grip section of the TWSBI Eco. And so that's the reasoning behind that. Also, if they don't release as many as for the regular, then I'm not as tempted. I just wanted to show you this pen. I had, as I said, Seize the Night in there. And if you remember, from last time, the ink that was in here felt very oily, very slick. It was sticking to the outside of the barrel and, well, the inside of the outside barrel. It was just sticking to the piston. It's not a piston because it's a vacuum filler, but what is this? The ink compartment of the pen. And it was super easy to clean. I haven't found, or I haven't researched on how to remove the nib, but that is clean as well. And then I just flushed it through multiple times and it came out really easy. Very surprised. So that's all I actually wanted to say. TWSBI Storm is in here. Where though? It should be before the... This was Seize the Night. I think I inked up Storm before that. Maybe not. Nope. After then. Yep, right here. So it is, would you call this a gold shimmer? In my opinion, this is a silver shimmer. It's just a regular, maybe jeans blue, leaning toward red, and you can see that right here, with silver shimmer, silver. I'll say silver. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. So that is all I have to share with you today. I'm going to turn on some music and do the same thing in my other two journals and then show them to you in a close-up. Alrighty, so instead of putting on some music, I thought that I would just drop some random fountain pen thoughts on you, and I would really love to talk to you about those things in the comments, because even though I try to do some research and watch so many YouTube videos about all the things that I'm curious about, there are still some things that just go unanswered. And so I'm just gonna drop my thoughts and ideas, and I hope you will reply. So here's the first one. I used the Franklin Christoph fountain pen today, which is March 25th, I think. Yes, March 25 in my journal. And then I checked when I used it last, and that was actually March 5th, I think. So it's 20 days since I had used this fountain pen. I thought I was using or rotating through my pens more often than I actually do. And I know that this is not a requirement for fountain pens to write when they are inked after they have been sitting for a while. And so I think it is just not surprising, now that I think about it, that the pen had such a hard start in the beginning when I shared or tried to swatch it for you earlier. Now, that being said, as I said again before too, all of my other fountain pens do not have a problem with hard starts, even when they're sitting for a long time. So I know fountain pens like this exist. The problem, or the question is now, how do I treat this? Do I treat this as a flaw in the fountain pen? Which I don't think it actually is. Even though I'm easily disappointed by things like when things like that happen, I think that's just normal. And I think my theory about the cap not sealing as much or as well as the other caps of my fountain pens is the right theory. Yeah, so that's one thing. If you have a Franklin Christoph pen, or if you have any thoughts on that, I would love to hear what you think. And then I have two more thoughts. I seem to have a thing for pocket pens at the moment. They're just so cute. And I have been pondering the idea of adding a TWSBI Mini to the collection. And I'm especially looking at the TWSBI Mini Rose Gold in white. But then I do have TWSBI pens. I know what their nib is and how they perform. I love them. They write well. But do I really need to add another TWSBI? Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't added it yet, and I'm not going to very soon, but that is still in the back of my mind. It would be really nice to have one. Do you have one? Do they write differently than the other TWSBIs that you have? Let me know. I'm curious. And then the last thing that I am thinking about is the Endless Pens, Robert Oyster and Micah Fine's exclusive fountain pen ink collection, Cozy Comforts. I am so smitten by those colors, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I really love those colors, and I don't know what to do because there's no ink samples to purchase. I haven't used Robert Oyster inks, but I feel like I have to have them. But then I'm so opposed to having bottled ink because I just don't use that much ink to begin with. I'm totally fine and happy with having samples. And now I'm thinking, do I get them because I want them so badly? Do I really want them so badly? What if there's other inks next year that are as pretty, as my style as these ones? I don't know what to do, and I'm done. So I'd love to hear your suggestions, your tips. How do you treat all of those FOMO issues in the comments below? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're still here, you are the reason I make those videos, and I hope to see you soon. Until then, bye.